Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mindful of You podcast. This is episode 94, Lessons from the Wild Robot. This is fun. I've been excited to talk about this movie. It was such a cute one. I knew from the second I saw the trailer that I would love the movie because it just seems like my kind of movie. And I first realized it was actually coming out. I'd seen some previews about my primary kids. All of them had gone to see it with their families, and I was like, whoa, this is a big one. So we decided to go see it that week, and it was adorable. It lived up to expectations, if not more. So it's a new DreamWorks movie. It's not Disney. I'm sure many people will call it Disney, but it's DreamWorks, so same family as Shrek, Madagascar, trying to think of what else. There's more DreamWorks. Trolls. Same family as some of those movies. So I have 7 lessons from the Wild Robot. There's probably spoilers. Nothing intentional, but I'm sure there's spoilers. So if this is something you're invested in, then maybe don't listen to this podcast. This was also based off of a children's book. So that's really cool. But let's just dive into those 7 lessons. Number 1, you can't help people who don't want your help. So Roz, the robot, her programming, she's a helper, those new creepy Tesla robots or whatever that I'm so frightened by. But yeah, she's programmed to help people. That's her whole thing. And she lands in this forest. She's programmed to help people, and she lands in this forest with a bunch of animals who don't need her help because they're animals, they're not human, and she has to spend time learning how to speak to every animal, downloading new information and everything so that she can try and get her job done and go back to her factory. But they just don't need her help nor want it. And I think that's a really important lesson for a lot of people. You're not obligated to help everybody, especially if they would rather not have your help. So that doesn't mean you stop being there for them or loving them or anything like that. But as far as physically helping, offering advice, all of those things, some people may just not want it, and that's fine. Okay. My second lesson here is family can be made. So the wild robot, Roz, and this little duckling who ends up being named Bright Bill end up forming a mother-son bond because Bright Bill imprints on Roz. So they're also good friends with a fox named, I think he's voiced by Pedro Pascal, because I looked this up earlier, but I can't remember the character's name. IMDb Wild Robot. Research in real time, people. I wanted to make sure I knew the names this time because these are so hard to do without remembering the names. Okay, Fink. So Fink is this fox. He's all sly and kind of a bad guy at the beginning, but he bonds with Roz and with Bright Bill, and they kind of become this little family, and it's darling. And I think not all of us come from traditional families, or maybe we do, but we live away from family, or we are estranged from family, and we can kind of form our own communities that feel like a family. I think that's a beautiful thing because not everybody is blessed to share blood with family that they trust and love. And so the fact that we can form bonds that feel like family is really important to me, and I think it's really beautiful. Number 3, motherhood is challenging and not formulaic. I'm sure that's the understatement of the century, but Roz has to parent Bright Bill because now he's the one who needs help. So in order to go back to the factory, she needs to mother him and help him to fly, swim, and eat. And she's super smart. She's literally a robot, so she knows everything. But everything she tries doesn't necessarily work. He makes some progress, but just knowing everything and telling everything quantitatively, mathematically, logically doesn't get Bright Bill to the point he needs to be even though she's so smart and knows everything. So this kind of reminds me of times in our lives, and I'm sure it's applicable to motherhood, where we Google everything, or we just read every book, or become very studious when it comes to how to do life right or how to do motherhood right. And I think that there's many ways to do things. And it's not as formulaic and logical as we want it to be. Now, that doesn't mean we don't learn, that we don't try and be the best we can be in what we do. But I think even with all the research in the world, we're still going to run into roadblocks, make mistakes, and maybe not even have the best outcome by doing that. So I think I'm saying that lesson just to throw it out there, but also maybe to encourage you to chill a little bit. Okay, number 4, we can set our differences aside when push comes to shove, but why wait? So this is about how in the forest, like things go crazy like they always do in movies, and factory people want to come get Roz, but Roz doesn't want to leave anymore. She wants to stay with the animals. She wants to live in this forest, and they're coming for her. Actually, this happened first because they were hibernating, and Roz and Fink had to save everybody because it was getting too cold. So they had to move them to their cave by a fire. And so like everybody was in this cave, like including the bear and the bunny, like predators and what's the other word? Predators and it's not victims and prey. Oh my gosh, that's driving me crazy. I hope some of you were yelling at your phone or whatever. So yeah, predators and prey were together and being peaceful. And it just made me think of like our world. And it's like, yeah, when push comes to shove, like I was literally 2 years old when this happened, but people talk about the tragedy of 9/11 and how everybody just felt more united and it felt like we were one. And same thing happens in this forest. Everybody almost died because it got too cold and they came together and then they stayed together on Roz's behalf. But I just, why does it take tragedy and things like that to bring people together? Like, I asked this more philosophically. I don't have a solution, but I wish we didn't have to wait for something like that to start to love each other and to come together. It kind of makes me sad. So I guess if there were any encouragement there, it'd be, can you mend a relationship or love before a tragedy happens and let love back into your life? Okay. Number 5, anyone can become strong. So Bright Bill is like the runt of his siblings, and it takes a lot of work for him to learn how to fly and swim, especially because he's so small and because he's the runt and not as strong. But eventually he becomes very strong and he's leading flights and migrations because of hard work. And there are some things that just don't come naturally to people. And I feel like I'm one of those people. A lot of things do come naturally to me. I am very blessed that way. I feel like singing came very natural to me. I have a pretty good like stage presence as a whole. Strength and rhythm and movement don't come super naturally to me. It's not something that's just like in my body or in my blood. But with studying like aerial silks and going to the aerial gym, I've gotten so much stronger. Obviously still not as strong as I want to be because humans are never satisfied with themselves, but I never thought I could be this strong. And I never thought that I could look pretty with just using my body to move and to dance and to do things like that. It was always something I told myself I couldn't do. And so this is like kind of a weird tangent, but I hear women say a lot, like, I'm not strong, or I have 0 upper body strength, or I have 0 core strength, like it's final. And I'm not saying that you need to get these things to prove your worth by any means, but like, I also want you to know, like, you can be strong if you want to be. Like, it takes work and it takes dedication. But like, it's not the end of the road. Like, I have no upper body strength, maybe right now, but you could get it. Like you totally could. And I feel like some people just think that for them specifically, they're not capable. But if y'all saw how weak I was, you'd be like, yeah, she's falls in that camp. Like she probably just can't do this. But I could. It took me longer, and it takes me longer than it takes a lot of people. And I may not get to the point that many people are at. I don't know. I don't know how far this hobby and talent will take me, but I've already like shattered my own expectations. So don't put a ceiling where there doesn't need to be one. Okay. Number 6, we are capable of great love. That one kind of speaks for itself, but there's a lot of love, feelings of belonging, feelings of acceptance in this movie, and we're all capable of that if we can set aside pride and judgment. Number 7, community makes us stronger. So the force bands together, they're able to accomplish even more, rely on the strengths of each other, and I'm a huge proponent of this. I think divisiveness only makes us weaker, and community, trying to understand one another, maybe not even trying to understand one another, but setting differences aside and marking them as saved for later, can make us a whole lot stronger as a group, whether that be as a family, as a group of coworkers, as a ward, as whatever it may be, as a marriage. In my opinion, we're stronger together. So thank you guys so much for listening. This is an adorable movie. If you get a chance to watch it, bring your tissues, but you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great week. Bye-bye.